I've dealt with many times in my career the fraud and professional dishonesty of the modern academic establishment relative to nationalism. There is no ideological or philosophical approach that's more repugnant to the academic and corporate elites worldwide than nationalism, because nationalism is a philosophy that situates the human person, the self, the will, the soul, within a very rich, historically constituted group of people. That is the very opposite of the New World Order and the process of globalization, which is one and the same thing. The New World Order is that the end of history announced by so many academics and many other politicians. It lies at the root of both the neoliberal Democrat and the neoconservative Republican way of thinking, that the entire world has to be unified in some form of a global republic, and its primary features are the lack of any ethnic identity, and instead the individualism of the average person and the free movement of capital over national and regional borders. The New World Order and globalization are the same thing, and it has been the obsession of global elites for many, many years, but never as powerfully as after World War II. Once Hitler was out of the way, and his specific eccentric version of nationalism was removed from the scene, the world could be very easily divided up between the various factions of liberals and leftists. So on the one hand, the Soviet Union, Marxism, socialism had its role, and the so-called democratic, oligarchic, liberal point of view represented by America and FDR also has its role. And so the world can then be divided up between those two forces, and it becomes, in modern times, the only two legitimate sets of opinion and sets of ideas that a respectable man could have, whether it be in academia or in government or in corporate America or in the press or in Hollywood or whatever it is. And the so-called ideological debate in the modern world, at least in the Anglo-American world, is liberalism versus some kind of socialism. And I'm speaking very, very generally there. But the one thing that is not permitted, and the one set of opinions which you may not have, is nationalism. The only people who are permitted a national consciousness are those that the regime is mobilizing to destroy their opponents. So in America, for example, it's perfectly legitimate if you're a black or Hispanic to be a nationalist, even a fanatical, violent nationalist, because the regime is using them and mobilizing them against people like me. And that's why they have to be in academia and in government, so that they could be used to eliminate any anti-system, anti-regime, anti-globalist way of thought. Of course, Jews in various ways, mostly secular, are typified by their absolutely fanatical nationalism and obsession with intermarriage and their genetic inheritance. They are the only ones who are permitted this constant personal obsession to the point of absolute pathology for national purity. If somebody like me will do it, to talk about it, whether it be with Slavs or Europeans or white people or Irishmen or Christians or whatever it happens to be, I'll be called every name in the book and be blacklisted by the establishment. When the Jews say the exact same things, using the exact same vocabulary, they're called progressive. And that's typical of the double standards. But there's a deeper issue, and the deeper issue is that nationalism is a very inconvenient point of view.